A country that has been closed off to the outside for much of its history, China, is now inviting nations of the world here to showcase their cultures. Hi, I'm Vicki Libiakis in China, and this is Shanghai World Expo. At the World Expo, countries build architectural wonders on a massive chunk of prime Shanghai real estate. Inside, bold visions of the future, a future with better cities and better lives for those who live in them. Nations try to make their best impression on tens of millions of Chinese eager for contact with the outside world. And China's biggest city is forever changed and left with a new iconic landmark. Watch as history is made at the Shanghai World Expo. Think of the World Expo as the Olympics, but without the sports. Nations gather in a gesture of goodwill to share their cultures.
National participants in World Expositions have an excellent opportunity to showcase their cultures, their industry, their vision of the future for their people, and to by and large stand tall among nations and present themselves well.
So far, there have been 84 World Expos, sometimes known as World's Fairs. Each expo must have a theme. London hosted the world's first expo in 1851. Its theme was the great exhibition of the works of industries of all nations. Some World's Fair themes marked historic anniversaries, like 100 years of American independence at the Philadelphia Centennial Exposition of 1876. Chicago's 1893 exposition commemorated the 400th anniversary of Christopher Columbus's arrival in the New World. San Francisco held the 1915 Panama Pacific International Exposition to celebrate the completion of the Panama Canal and to demonstrate its recovery from the 1906 earthquake. But beyond themes, World Fairs became better known as events where people could experience new technology that could change the human experience. The 1893 exposition in Chicago presented electricity as the future's primary power source. In 1904, at the St. Louis Expo, X-ray technology was unveiled that revolutionized the medical industry. And at the New York Expo in 1939, the world saw the first images broadcast on television. Flash forward almost 150 years after the first World Expo to 2010, the biggest World Expo in history is taking place in Shanghai, China. The pavilion site is over 2 square miles. More than 200 nations and corporations have built pavilions, many of them architectural works of art. When it comes to that theme of better city, better life, different countries have different interpretations of what it means to go green. Romania here, their spin is a green apple. Among the European pavilions, if you make it to the top of the Swiss pavilion, you can ride the chairlift. Off in the distance there, that is the Spanish pavilion, and the skin of it is made of all recycled material. Over there, that's the Polish pavilion, and if it looks like paper cutting, well, it is, because that's the national folk art. Some of the pavilions are pretty obvious, others are a bit more mysterious. Take, for instance, the Singapore pavilion. If you're still stumped, think music box, only a really big music box. Some of the ideas behind pavilion architecture are more abstract than others. The Israeli pavilion is made up of 2 materials, glass and stone, and it's meant to evoke 2 hands clasping together. You see it? If you've ever blown on a dandelion and watched all the seeds scatter, well, that's the general idea behind the UK pavilion, only they've taken it to the extreme. China has spent $58 billion to host the event. It's moved heaven and earth to improve infrastructure. The expo will last 6 months, from May to October 2010. In that time, more than 70 million people will walk through the gates. More than 95% of those people will be Chinese, most of whom have never left China. For them, it will be their first direct contact with the cultures of the world.
At an expo, the thing that people really seem to come away with, especially children, is sort of ideas and hope and the ideas of progress and their impressions of other countries.
The expo's host city, Shanghai, is a rapidly expanding urban monster, barely recognizable to those who lived here 20 years ago. With that expansion have come monster problems, pollution, traffic, and other challenges to the quality of life. It's fitting, then, that the theme of the Shanghai World Expo is Better City, Better Life, because that's just what most of the people who live here want.